What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chris coming at you for another Deerfish Gaming video. And today I am really excited because we are live from Profundity once again, covering Han2 Blue. I started this little journey out, posting my deck breakdown last week, and then my top 4 Kira Data Vault match, and then my finals Krennic Data Vault match. And I've just got a lot of good reception from those videos, and I've had some private messages and I think a comment or two asking for me to go into further detail and another YouTube video about this deck. So here we are doing a deep dive. I'm going to unload all the knowledge I can in this video. That way you guys can be set up for success in the future. This set is coming to a close rather soon. It's coming up quickly, and set 5 is coming up. So, I'm trying to get this video out to you guys as quickly as possible, even though I did just post a deck breakdown video not that long ago. So, what are we going to be covering today? I'm going to do a quick deck breakdown, very similar to my first video, but I'm going to do it a little bit quicker. I'm assuming you've already seen that video and you kind of already know what the cards in the deck do and what we're trying to look for. This is mainly just to kind of quickly touch bases on those again and go over the card changes. And then I'm going to go over the matchups, what I think the bad matchups are for this deck, and then how I feel about the rest of the field. And then I'm going to go over a general turn-by-turn game plan. There's not really anything I can do about like certain circumstances. It's a card game. There are things that'll come up that I just won't be able to cover in this video, but it is what it is. I'm going to do my best to give just I think a well thought out general game plan for you to look for, and what I'm looking for in this deck at least. That way, after you hear what I have to say, maybe you can think to yourself, okay, I don't really like how this combos with this. I'm going to take this card out for this. So I'm just going to do my best to break down my thought process on everything so that you guys can make the changes that you want to make, or if you like what I'm working with, it'll help you understand the decisions I made. I will also go over the sideboard and just what I choose to sideboard in, what type of matchups. And then I'm going to also go over my set 5 deck list theory. Okay, so there's going to be quite a few stuff we're going to go over today. I'm really excited. I've put a lot of thought into it. I don't normally like type up like a script, but if you see me kind of looking away, I do kind of have a script because I just want to do a good job for you guys. I really like this deck, and I want you guys to perform well with it as well. Now, and if you like the idea of that, hit that like button down below. And if you don't want to miss any more content coming out of the Deerfish Gaming channel, hit that subscribe button. It would really help me out a lot. And then I just started a Patreon, so if you are interested in seeing all of my deck lists in a centralized area, most of my deck lists will be on Patreon from the YouTube channel for free. All you got to do is just hit that link down below and then go and subscribe to my Patreon. I would say like 90-95% of my YouTube video decks will be on the free tier for my Patreon. If you, however, wanted to see what I'm up to behind the scenes and what I'm doing, live at this very moment, whether it might be my Vader Swarm deck, whether it might be future versions of my Han2 Blue list. Obviously, the one I'm going over today is going to be the most updated version, and you will be able to see this in this video. However, if you wanted to see future updates, you're gonna have to subscribe to the deck enthusiast tier. But all my past videos, like my Piet and the first version of this Han2 Blue, and then like my mono ray list will be on the free tier. So there'll be tons of content on the free tier, and it will be ever growing and updated regularly, of course, with the sets and as I tinker with them. So, which is quite often. But yeah, let's get into the deck breakdown now, or the deep dive, should I say. Okay, so we went down to 2 Sabine Wrens. I do find that she's good, but when I find that I'm resourcing a card a lot, then I think it's time to evaluate how many copies of it we have in the deck. or if it needs to be cut, and I don't think she needs to be cut. But going down one to make room for other things and to get the deck list down to 50, I think has been fine, and the deck I think has been performing very well for me. But of course, always stay on the lookout for needing to add that third one in to go against those pesky 2/2 shielded units. Um, I'm still at 2 Cassian Andors. We have switched out L3 for Outer Rim Outlaws. So I just felt like L3 was a good play when I first started playing this deck, but now that it's kind of that the deck is being more played and different versions of it are going around, I just feel like things like the L3 play are going to be looked out for now, and so I just felt like to go with the more consistent Outer Rim Outlaws of being like a 3/1 shielded unit on turn one, or just a 3/3 shielded unit on turn two. So it's been really effective, and I really have liked it. So we threw the Outer Rim Outlaws in for sure. Then we switched out K2 for Cham Syndulla. One of the major K2 is performing fine for me personally, but I also haven't really missed him too much. The 5 damage from Cham is really good. If we were playing K2 early, it was a 4/2. Playing Cham early is a 5/2. And if they played resupply or they ramped somehow, then we also get to put the top card of our deck in to our resource bin. So it's just a really good card, and I have found that the 5 damage has come in clutch, where the 4 damage from K2 wasn't necessarily cutting it in some scenarios. Again, that's just 1 damage. K2 did a good amount, but I am liking Cham, and it has allowed me to free up some spots in the side deck, which I think is really the main thing that was good from moving Cham from the side deck to the main deck. Because K2 honestly was performing just fine for me, and I think if you want to stick with K2 in your main deck, I think go for it. The other card I added in is Chewbacca Pikesbane. So I flat out just didn't have this card at first, but now I have this card, and I tested out, 2 copies, 1 copy, 3 copy, 50 card, 51 card, 52. I've kind of done all the different variations, and I don't think this card warrants being more than a 1 of in a deck. I think it just, at 8 resources, I'm really trying to play Crate Dragon or like a Profundity or a Redemption or something like that. I just feel like, and then Smuggling, of course, for 9 is good. But he does come up in certain scenarios, and I'd be lying if I said that I didn't win a couple of games off of just playing this guy, because playing him on 7 as a 6/8, and also he has that takedown effect and his win plate ability of defeating a unit with 5 or less remaining HP is good. But just because of his high cost conflicting with other things like Crate Dragon, Redemption, and like Profundity, if we choose to side Profundity, and I don't like it. But having the smuggle does help if you do get into a bind. So that's why we're just keeping him at 1. Just keeping him at 1. The Fang Fighter. Okay, so there's a lot of debate about confiscate Fang Fighter. I prefer the Fang Fighter because a lot of like Vader decks are going like either 2 turn 1 plays, or they're doing a turn 1 ship and then piloting the Victor 2 on there, and so you can immediately on the next turn just get rid of that Victor 2 pilot, making that ship not quite as good if you already have like a Rival's Fall ready. But you can also just hold this for the Vader flip turn if you're not drawing your Rival's Fall. I don't know. I just really like Fang Fighter, and just having another space body to counteract some of the swarming, I think, has been better than Confiscate in that regard. So that's why I just prefer disabling Fang Fighter personally over Confiscate. But again, that's one of those cards where I think that if you play Confiscate, I don't think anybody's going to be mad at you. Confiscate's a great card to play as well. We went down to 2 Red Squadron X-Wings. I don't know. I have not been drawing it in the instances where I need it, and I've just felt like it hasn't been the card I've wanted to play always. So I just kind of knocked this down to 2 because we added the disabling Fang Fighters in. So we have a little bit, we have one more space unit than we would have before, but we did go down on one of the Red Squadron X-Wings. It just wasn't performing as well as I needed for a 3 of, but I do like the card a lot. Um, and then we are main decking 2 bombing runs. Okay, I am tired of losing game 1s to Vader for yellow. Okay, it is. I'm just tired of it. Okay, so main decking bombing runs and the Fang Fighters, and the game 1 win rates against the Vader yellows have been much better, much better. So yeah, I mean, you bombing run them, and it's pretty much lights out for them. There's not really much they can do. There's only a couple of ships that they have that are being main decked at the moment that can survive a bombing run. So yeah, I mean, it's devastating against them. So I'm tired of losing game 1s. So boom, it's in there, and then also it's somewhat helpful against like Ray, and I've played it a couple of times outside of Vader 4 matchup, but it is definitely more niche when you're going into other matchups outside of Vader 4. You may not always be useful, but it's so helpful against Vader 4, and Vader 4 is an issue that we do have to tech 2 whole cards that are purely pretty much for that matchup. And I went up to a second Rivals Fall for pretty much the same reason. You need the bombing run, and then the other thing that can still happen is like a Vader flip onto a scary thing like the Clone Squadron Combat or whatever, and then like an overwhelming barrage could come out and wipe your whole board. And if you don't have a Rivals Fall to deal with that immediately before the OB can come out, then things can get really scary. So yeah, I just want to ensure that we have that Rivals Fall on the 6-drop turn. So that's why we moved up to 2 in the main deck. Now we're going to go over the sideboard, like where we're going to side stuff in later, but for right now, let's cover just what's in the sideboard now. We got 2 open fires in the sideboard, is just very good into the current meta. And then we got 2 perilous position. I think that might have been in there from last time. We added 2 techs in now. The hand hate mirrors are starting to arise, whether that be Quinlan or Han2 blue, right? We got the 3rd pillage in the side deck. We have a 3rd Rivals Fall in the side deck. I cannot state how crucial it is that that you got to take out Vader. Like, Vader is a problem. It's really Vader for the Vader, because this could have been a Vanquish. Really, this could have been a Fell the Dragon. But no, I am choosing specifically Rivals Fall because even with 2 Rivals Falls, I've not drawn a Rivals Fall when I needed it against the Vader, and I've lost. So we're moving up to 3 Rivals Falls, because assuredly, if I don't draw one on game 1, when I side the 3rd one in, I should draw games 2 and 3. That's the theory, of course. And we got the 3rd Redemption in the side deck, and then we have moved Profundity to the side deck. Just like I've kind of alluded to, it's been a lot more space aggro, a lot more aggro in general. So a lot of game 1s haven't been making it to Profundity, where and Crate Dragon and stuff like that. Whereas before, Kira and a little bit more mid-range control was being on the rise. Now it's kind of leveling back out to where it seems to be a little bit more even of aggro and mid-range and control and all that. So not always making it to to the 9 resource turn quite as consistently as I was even just a couple of weeks ago. So that was all the updates to the deck list. Now let's get into the matchups. Whew. Bad matchups. Like I alluded to before, the Vader 4 decks, the Pilot Vader, can be a menace without bombing runs and things like open fire to take care of Victor Leader, and I'd like to finish off the 4 health space units. So that can be a bad matchup if not teched properly, but can be winnable with tech properly. Big Daddy Palpatine, he is a problem. Really, any version I face of Emperor Palpatine, is kind of an issue. The draw package counteracts the discard package. His draw package counteracts our discard package, which we would normally use against a control type deck. Um, but it kind of renders ineffective, and you have to create a whole different game plan. I would say it's probably my hardest matchup that for me personally. Um, Still looking for some more consistent lines to win in these games. But yeah, it's a hard matchup. And then Tarkin Town. So Tarkin Town is it really hurts our game plan. At any point, they could just pretty much say bye to one of our units, and there's really nothing we can do about it. That's what their leader allows, or that's what their base ability allows them to do. So yeah, Quinlan Tarkentown, Cad Bane Tarkentown. There's a lot of different. I think most well piloted Tarkentown decks might give us a problem. Tarkentown just presents some early game threat to us and really shut down our early game very fast, and then we have to get into stabilized mode, which can be done, but it's kind of one of those where we normally with this deck force our opponent to have answers. Tarkentown can kind of put us in that scenario where forces us to have the answer for our opponent to try to stabilize. So yeah, so other than like Tarkentown decks and the Vader and the Palpatines, I really think that this deck is lined up pretty good. Now, like there's some randoms in there, like Wedge can probably a Wedge yellow deck can probably get you. Like a heavy space aggro deck can get you, but for the most part, especially with the bombing run, it really does sweep up that issue with the space aggro. And then of course we have like the Sentinels, the Tanev, the Redemption to help seal the deal. And then of course the Rebellious Hammerhead is normally really good at 2 for 1ing space stuff, sometimes even 3 for 1ing space stuff. He's a big boy. But yeah, so those are our bad matchups, and other than that, I really think that this deck is well positioned into the current meta going forward. Okay, so turn 1, resource 2, against Ping, probably like Sabine, Yoda, or the Outer Rim Outlaws. Cad Bane will ping you no matter what if they play an Underworld unit. But Quinlan, you can kind of go above, and Outer Rim Outlaws can typically be saved from a ping and won't be Tarkentown until the next turn. Yoda, I don't care at all if they Tarkentown. You can play Yoda turn 1, and if they Tarkentown Yoda, you just get that card back immediately in your hand. No big deal. Your Rebellious Hammerhead will be happy with that later. So, yeah. There's that. But if you're not going into a ping deck, really anything is good. Phantom 2 is great. So it starts out as a 5/1 in space. Cassian Andor is a 3/3, but is also good to smuggle later. He has a 2-fold, and of course Sabine deals with the 2/2 pesky shielded units. But yeah, and then the Red Squadron X-Wing can come down as a 3/2 on turn 1. If you notice, Disabling Fangfighter isn't on here because if you play Disabling Fangfighter on turn 1 with Han, you have to do 2 damage to it, and then it would be dead. So that's not a good thing to do. So you just gotta be careful. That is kind of one thing with this deck is against ping decks versus non-ping decks. You do have to kind of hope that you get your better turn 1 draws. But yeah, let's move on to resource 3. Okay, so as the game progresses, the versatility of this deck begins to open up more and more and more. But we do play in a somewhat linear path for quite a while, but it is quite a strong linear path. So if you played Yoda turn 1, right, your first action can be a force throw. Most of the time, something's going to be out there to do 2 damage to take out Yoda if you are not able to take the first action. So just be wary of that, but you can do things like that. But most of our turn 1 plays can be played on turn 2 with 3 resources like the Outer Rim Outlaws, the Red Squadron X-Wing. We can afford to put 2 damage on it to draw a card with being turn 3. And then the Fangfighter is now safe to play if you were not able to have like a good force throw to get, or or something else to get rid of the Falcon, like the Phantom 2, or something in space that's about to get piloted with like Chewie or something. The Fang Fighter will be your best friend. And then Cassian Andor, of course, still, if you're in a bind, can be played as a 3/5. Force Throw, of course, becomes to be online with Yoda. You can, of course, not play Yoda on turn 1, and then you can play Yoda on turn 2 for 2 resources, and then Force Throw safely if your opponent doesn't have an attacker ready to exhaust. So that's a lot of really good options on top of playing Kanan on turn 2 as well. So you can play Sabine on turn 1, and then play Kanan on turn 2, and then they're discarding 2 cards from the top of their deck, and you get to heal from that. So very, very cool. I really like this sequence of events, but the deck definitely begins to get stronger as we go on in the game, and pretty much from now onward, Force Throw has a potential to be active. We have the potential to draw a Jedi and or a Force unit, and then also pay for 1 less, and then Force Throw in the same turn. There's a lot of times where that's going to be a possible play, and maybe one of the best plays that you can do. So I may not say that every time, but just keep that in the back of your mind, because if I did say that a bunch, I might say that combo like 20 times. But yeah, so let's keep going. Resource 4, we got lots of goodies, lots of good options now. Okay, as I said before, Force Throw is online constantly. So Yoda Force Throw is a good 4 resource play. Potentially Fell the Dragon. There are a lot of good combo units out there. Like now there are 2 of them playing like a Zuckuss early, and then there are some other decks that are able to get some high power units out pretty early, either by piloting or whatnot. So you never know if you're going to need to Fell the Dragon to kind of keep the board stabilized. Things happen. The Red Squadron X-Wing is pretty good on this turn because you can set up your Rebellious Hammerhead on the next turn, giving that 1 extra card in hand may provide lethal damage on something with the Hammerhead's when played ability. Cham is still good on 4 if your opponent's ramping. Maybe they played Super Laser Tech, not Resupply, so they didn't necessarily ramp on turn 3, but they got their ramp card out on turn 3. So you can still play Cham on turn 4 after the Super Laser Tech has been defeated, and get you that equal ramp and be able to flip at the same time, or flip on 5, like a turn early. Still very, very good on 4. Poe Dameron is very, very good for 4 resources with Han's ability as a 6/4. And then, I've often found times that if you're able to play a second one after they take care of the first one, either on resource 5 or hopefully on resource 5, it's just really devastating for your opponent. He's a very hard card to answer, and then, very hard to answer twice in a row. You got to look out for Pillage. It's not necessarily a card you always want to slam out immediately on turn 4, but if your opponent only has 2 cards left in hand, I like to take the opportunity to just hit that Pillage and just empty the hand and get them in the top deck mode as soon as possible, because then going forward, if they resource, all you got to do is just like play a Force Throw, and then their hand is empty, and you get to damage something on their side of the board. They only have 1 card in hand, so that it becomes a devastating play. It builds on itself as the game goes on, but you definitely have to look for your windows of opportunity for Pillage to come down, and it's not always good against every matchup. Like an aggro deck doesn't care if you pillage them, because they're just trying to empty their hand as fast as possible most time. But a mid-range or a control deck, depending on what they are, they might not be too happy to get pillaged. That might hurt them very, very much so. Then a Kanan Jarrus for full power is also very, very good. The heal, discarding the top card of the deck, all great. And then Ki-Adi-Mundi, a card I didn't think wasn't good in set 3, but I think is starting to come alive in this set with all the different extra packages available. Now you can play him on 4 as a 5/5. We do not care at all if Ki-Adi-Mundi gets Fell the Dragon. It's 1 less for Poe, 1 less for Crate, 1 less for Luke, 1 less really for anything else. And but if they do not enter Ki-Adi-Mundi and you play him on 4, there's a pretty good chance you're probably going to play a unit on turn 5 and flip Han. So you can threaten the Coordinate pretty easily on turn 5, much like Quinlan does with the Coordinate for Plo Koon to ambush 6. So, yeah, I've been drawing a lot of cards, and I think the day that I won my Carbonite Booster Box tournament, um, I did draw like 10 cards off Kiadi. He's a problem. Not every deck necessarily wants to answer him, and some decks can answer him. Not every deck wants to answer him. When you play him on 4, it's not conducive to what they are trying to do. So this is Resource 4. Let's move on to Resource 5. Resource 5. So one of my favorite things to do if my opponent answered my Poe that I played on 4, I will slam a second Poe. It's pretty devastating. Of course, you have to draw the second Poe. That's part of that criteria, but that is something that you can look for that is very, very devastating for your opponent. Or let's say you played Poe on 4, your opponent didn't have an answer. They still needed to play another card. You claim you can play Obi-Wan on 5. There, your Poe Dameron is now protected, and if Obi-Wan dies, you can make Poe Dameron an 8/6 because you played him on 4, so he has a 2 damage on him. But boom, and now when you swing and discard a card from your hand, you can do upwards of 10 damage if you want to your opponent. So just a bunch of really cool plays. I really, really like Obi-Wan. You just got to be careful against Villain Blue. No glory only results is real, and I find that if my opponent no glory only results in Obi-Wan, it's kind of a pretty big game switcheroo in their aspect because they get 2 force tokens or they get 2 experience tokens on a unit, and most times Villain Blue around this time will begin to start playing force units, so they'll normally get to draw a card, also counteracting some of the discard that you just drew. And what you're trying to do against control is get them in the top deck mode and partially pray that they don't draw the answers that they need. So having them draw an extra card is absolutely not what we want to see. So just got to be careful of that against blue villain. But otherwise, slamming Obi-Wan on 5 can a lot of times be a very good thing. Having a Sentinel, a 4/4 Sentinel, not so bad because of his when defeated ability. Okay, and Rebellious Hammerhead. So Hammerhead is very, very good. Say you get a draw off of Obi-Wan, and then you play him on. I know we're talking about playing him on turn 5, but we got plenty of draw cards like Yoda, Red Squadron, X-Wing, and then Obi-Wan. So playing Rebellious Hammerhead on 5 or 6 honestly is very, very good. It's one of my favorite cards. I don't know about going up to 3. I like it at 2, but I wouldn't be mad at anybody playing 3 because it's just that damn good. When played, you get to deal damage to or a unit on the field based on the number of cards in your hand, and so if you get an extra, even one extra draw, it normally will seal the deal on any unit. But most of the time, even without an extra draw, Hammerhead is doing the Lord's work in this deck. Is doing very, very good. Gorilla Attack Pod is very, very good. Okay, I have it as a 1-of in the deck. It's not something I typically look to play on Resource 5. You're not typically going to see 15 damage on a base on Resource 5 with us playing because we're restoring and we're stabilizing and trying to get to around this time to when we can start to overtake the game. But I do believe that he is good for as finishing the game if you need like a little extra 6 damage coming in. But then as well as a plan D, plan C, plan D, whatever, he is a 6/4 body with grit on Resource 5. So it's still nothing to scoff at. Kiadi threatening the coordinate, like I spoke about on Resource 4, same thing, except on this turn, you can kind of keep your body, your Poe or something stuck, and then you can flip your Han, and in a perfect world, your opponent doesn't necessarily have an answer immediately for the Poe. They play a card, you can play your Kiadi, and then if they play another card, as soon as they play that card, even if it was to answer one of your units, because you have Coordinate online, when they played their second card, you get to draw 2 cards. So, and therefore also probably bringing online your Hammerhead in the following turn. So just very, very good combo with the Hammerhead, and just in general. And like I said before, if they fell your Kiadi, who cares? And if they put a lot of resources into taking out your Kiadi, who cares? We're just trying to soak up all of the removal, on all of the nastiness. That way, when we get to our great dragons, that they will have a little bit easier of time of sealing the game for us. Um, and then, so of course, you can play Kanan with our most talked about card, Force Throw. But also, if you already still had a Force unit out and you were able to potentially Force Throw your opponent, clear a unit, and then pillage them on Resource 5, if your opponent, I mean, your opponent's probably going to play a card too. If they play a card, you hit them with Force Throw and a full effect of a pillage. That's 4 cards coming out of your opponent's hand. That immediately is going to put your opponent into the top deck portion of the game and trying to recover from that. And I think you will be in a good position as long as the board state is somewhat stabilized. You don't want to pillage if you don't have at least somewhat control of the board or have a potential way to stabilize the next turn. So you just really have to look out for those opportune times to pillage your opponent and then take advantage of it and just take away the game. Take away with the game. Go run away with the game. Good lord. Okay, resource 6. So playing out a full-on Obi-Wan can sometimes be good, depending on the board state. If you already have a Force unit out and you just want to get in a little bigger and get a draw off, Hammerhead can be good. Of course, playing Hammerhead on 5 or 6 is great. Playing Luke on 6, however, can be absolutely devastating against your opponent. Playing Luke on 7 is really good. Playing him on 6 is even better. The one thing you do need to look out for is those yellow hero decks with the 7-drop Han that will ambush into him and take no damage back. Playing him early does leave him susceptible to the Han unit, but playing him outright has him a little bit safer. Of course, playing Quinlan, they can still ping him and then take him out. So it is what it is there. But so you just got to look out there. But also on the flippity flop, if Han unit does take out something, this Luke will completely neg out the Han. So it has a little bit of balance to it against that unit. But we love Luke. The restore 3, 6 attack, and 7 health is just beautiful, and the win plate effect is just absolutely devastating. Neg 3ing stuff works, is great, and also neg 6ing stuff is amazing. Either way, when played, is you can really use to your favor. Rivals Fall is very, very good to answer like the Vader 4 decks immediately, or really any big unit on 6 or after 6 that you just think is a big threat that you need to take care of immediately. And speaking of Vader 4, I did not forget about Bombing Run. I know we did just do the Resource 5 turn, and I didn't say not a damn word about Bombing Run. But it's just for one matchup, really. So I figured I would just talk about it right here with the Rivals Fall. So, you can look at Rivals Fall. You can look at Bombing Run and then follow up with the Rivals Fall against Vader 4. That's really the only matchup I'm trying to play Bombing Run. Still probably should have talked about it on that last slide. I do apologize. But yeah, for Resource 5, look for the Bombing Run on Vader 4, and that's about it. And then look for the Rivals Fall on Resource 6, and that'll pretty much wrap up that game, to be honest with you. Anything... you don't really interact with the deck other than that. I mean, that's really the 2 cards. You can hit those 2 cards, and you're probably set up for success against the Vader 4. Like I said before, you always look out for the pillage, and in the FT, always look out for the FT. Tantive coming out for 6, it can be good. Like say you play your Rebellious Hammerhead. Then you can play Tantive on 6 just to get a little Sentinel out there, and then also you play that X-Wing token. So it can help you be really good, once again, in like the Vader Swarm. If it makes it that far, you play Tantive, you have a Sentinel out there, and you have an X-Wing token to help clean up some of those TIE Fighter tokens. So it's just really good, but then also just against those space decks that where we can survive a little bit, but then they start to play big boys. You want to be sure to have some Sentinels to back yourself up, just in case you don't draw the Rivals Fall or the Felled Dragon, or maybe you used them. You know what I mean? So things happen. But yeah, so we're starting to build up to these big boys, and definitely probably playing Luke on 6. Early is probably the best play, right? Because you get a unit out on the field, you get some restore, and you can take out a unit most of the time, especially on 6. Most stuff only has 6 health on resource 6. So yeah, just a very, very strong turn resource 6 is for us. Okay, and then from resource 7 on, we really, I feel like, start to get extra scary again. Whereas like resource 4 and 5, we're pretty scary. Resource 6, we're kind of reactive. But then resource 7 onward, I feel like we can once again we start to put on lots and lots of pressure. Um, you play that. You can play another Luke on 7 if they answered your first Luke. You can play your Chewbacca, um, and just really get good value out of that. He's a 6/8 if you play him on for 7 with Han's ability. You can play another Rival's Fall, the Fell the Dragon. All these cards are online right now to help you keep control of the board. And then also at all times, you can look out for a Pillage and a Force Throw to also control the hand and the board simultaneously. The Redemption can come out, give you a Sentinel, or give you some much needed healing to stabilize and then get yourself in the game for the win. Okay, so yeah, a very, very effective cards there. And then of course, starting on resource 8 onward, we can play essentially anything in the deck from our hand, Chewbacca being the only card that we cannot play from resource 8, not because the smuggle wise, but you can play them from your hand on 8. Crate Dragon, very, very good. You slam it on 8. If you've ripped your opponent's hand, it forces them to have an answer. And if they don't have an answer, you can't really take that many turns of 10 to the face. So yeah, so Crate Dragon will often win you games, and I've found a lot of times people just scoop. They know there's some decks out there that just know they don't have an answer for a Crate Dragon, so you play it, and then they're like, okay, well I lose. So very, very good. You could smuggle the Chewbacca, and then of course you can play it for 9. It's equally as good at 8 or 9. You can smuggle the Chewbacca on 9, or played on 8 is very, very good. You play the Luke and then Force Throw. You Fell the Dragon and then Pillage. Answer the board and then answer the hand. Play Redemption fully, get a full heal on. And just get the removal out with Rival's Fall. So it's just, we're really trying to clean the game up at this point. We spent the whole game answering the board, maintaining a board advantage if we can, and also ripping the opponent's hand at the same time, because they've been spending all of their resources trying to answer the big cards that we've been playing early. So yeah, this is the main deck, and now it is time to cover the side deck and my choices and thought process on the side deck. Side deck time. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward. Okay, I'm just gonna go in order of my sheet here, my notes. Open Fire. I bring in Open Fire versus heavy space decks and decks that are playing Falcons, as like Quinlan doesn't necessarily have a lot of space. But you got to answer that Falcon, and then also Open Fire will answer a red 5, which will absolutely decimate our deck, because we are playing stuff early with damage on it, and red 5 does damage to units that are already damaged. So we just really need to be careful of that. So yeah, so anything that if you feel like you're going against a deck that's trying to go aggro space, summon in that Open Fire, and I think you will be good to go. So then we got Profundity. So Profundity is mainly for against things like Control and other other mid-range decks where you're getting to 8 and 9 resources. I feel like with the rise of Control, the aggro decks are really trying to figure out the lines that they can take to squeeze out wins, and I think we need to adapt to what you got to have the main deck a little bit more secure against aggro, but not too much, because Kira, of course, is still going to be heavily popular, and I think our main deck sits in a pretty good middle line of we have a pretty solid game 1 plan into either matchup, and then also potentially get a little bit more favorable into the a lot more favorable with Vader 4, and then we can secure up a much stronger discard package for the control matchups for those otherwise. But yeah, Profundity is moved to the side deck just because there's a lot more aggro around, and I think that main decking just like bombing runs and disabling Fang Fighters is probably better at the moment than just having a big ship in there, just because. Tech, Han2 blue mirrors. This will be very good against, if some hand disruption is coming, you can resource something that you're going to need later and have that tech in for some good backup later. And then also it's very good against like Quinlan Tarkentown, who is kind of a double whammy. They hit your hand and you have a Tarkentown. It's not an unwinnable matchup. It is a rough matchup, but we have some very interesting lines that we can take that just requires practice. And plus, when you have two hand hate decks going at it, they often get each other into top deck mode. And if they don't have a good board state, we win the top deck mode every single time. We have the third Rivals Fall just to shore up any doubts that we're going to get that Rivals Fall on turn 6 for like a Vader 4 or a Cad Bane flip, because Cad Bane is pretty devastating flip if like they flip Cad Bane and then Relentless Pursuit is something that you really, really needed out there. So just got to look out for those scary flip turns, and then also Rivals Fall will just defeat any unit. So there's really no boundary on it. I did have Vanquish in there, but I drew a Vanquish. I drew the Vanquish instead of a Rivals Fall against a Vader 4, and it kind of lost me the game. So never again. We're at Rivals Fall instead of Vanquish. 3 Rivals Fall. The third Pillage, just to shore up like the Profundity. If you feel like your discard package is going to be pretty good. We side that in against Control and mid-range again. They're kind of the same scenario. Perilous Position. It's just good against aggro and Lurking TIE Phantom, and also to kind of help stop things like the Han1 flip turn combo. Han will still flip, but you can Perilous Position, stop them from going to 7, and stop like a complete blowout play like a U-Wing or a Big Han or Emphy's Nest. And so because if they do that, it's not like it's unwinnable or anything like that. But it's definitely rough, and you have to like figure out how to stabilize after that. But it's just a lot easier if you can get a Perilous Position off and stop any of that foolishness from the Han leader or the Lurking TIE Phantom. Obviously not in the same deck, but you know what I mean. Just those things are crazy. And then of course just exhausting something against like an aggro deck when they're trying to attack with it in the same turn, it can be very, very effective. So that's the side deck. The Redemption. The Redemption space and against heavy space where you need like another Sentinel space unit, or if you just feel like you can hit even 7 and you need some extra healing, boom, there you go. Because like even if your opponent doesn't go heavy space, they go heavy ground, but you need some good healing, and you can use Redemption and kind of like a they don't have a lot of space, that's a 6 attack, boom, you get some good damage in as well. So just kind of be on the lookout for that. But this side deck is very versatile, I think, and the main deck is also just very versatile and set up for success into a lot of good matchups, except probably Palpatine. Good lord, that deck is just, it is a nightmare for this. Palpatine is by far, I said it earlier and I'll say it again, is by far my roughest matchup that I have, and it is what it is. All right, now we have looked at the present. Now let's look towards the future. Okay, now I have decided to go ahead and use the Shadowed Undercity, the new blue base, that when you attack with the Force unit, the Force is with you. I only did it for one card. One freaking card. And it is the new Ki-Adi-Mundi. And we're going to... I'm only jumping straight to this because this is literally the only card we're doing it for. It's 4 costs, 4 attack, 4 health, and when played, you may use the Force, lose the Force token, and if you do, draw 2 cards. So playing him on 4 or playing him on 3 and using the Force to draw 2 cards is going to shoot Rebellious Hammerhead's effectiveness through the absolute roof. And I I love this so much. I went from the 30 base to the 28 health base. I don't haven't put any other way to use the force in this deck yet. I just started out with this, and I find it, I love it. Um, the 2 health missing does kind of suck, but with the restore and everything, I don't know. I still love it, and I think we have a much more solid early game with this new set than we did in set 3. But so now that we've gotten the reason why I have the 4 space out of the way, let's get into the rest of the deck. If you think we should use the 4 space just for this guy, comment down below and let me know how you feel. If you think I'm being a greedy boy, let me know. This is open for discussion. We got a long while to figure this thing out, guys. We're just trying to test these new cards, and we also or theorize with these new cards, and we also haven't even seen every single card that's coming out yet. So Yaddle is a 2 attack, 4 cost, restore 1, and then on attack, each other friendly Jedi unit gains restore 1 for this phase. I really, really like Yaddle. Just giving every other Jedi unit restore 1 is very, very good. And you can play him with Han's ability for 1 and force throw on turn 1, and him being a 2/2 is like whatever. Being able to force throw on turn 1, that makes me feel good inside. You know what I'm saying? I feel great. Um, so we still keep it 2 Cassian Andors in here. I mean, this card is just too good to drop. Ezra Bridger. Okay, this new Ezra Bridger is really, really good. Okay, so he's a 3/5, so he's a unit that we can play for 3/3 on turn 1. And on attack, you may give an experience token to another creature or specter unit. So Ezra pairs with Kanan, and also Ezra pairs with Phantom 2, pairs with Crate Dragon, pairs with Ogdo Bogdo. Ezra is just really, really good. And I think that he is going to be very, very effective. And of course, guys, if you think this, like, of course, I'm gonna change this list by the time everything comes out. I've just updated things as I've seen the cards come out, and also, like, there's things like I don't have the new Grogu in here. I'm not completely sold on it, but it's a great card, and I'm just, I'm still figuring out what I want to do with the list. So if you see that I don't have this Grogu and the new Grogu, and you're like, oh man, he's crazy, he doesn't like the new Grogu. I do like the new Grogu. I'm the type of guy, I just fit everything in a game plan, and I try everything. I look at everything, and this is where I'm at with the list right now. So if you subscribe to the Patreon, you may see that it's completely different in 4 days, and you may see it's completely different again in another week. You never know. It's time to start messing with these set 5 decks. But Ogdo Bogdo is very good. He's a 3 attack or 3 cost unit, so you can play him on turn 1 with 2 damage, 5 attack, 5 life. So you play him with 2 damage, and this unit cannot attack unless it's damaged. So we can play this turn 1, and he can attack. And when this unit attacks and defeats a unit, heal 2 damage from this unit. So essentially, with our deck, we need to attack stuff with only 2 attack on it. That way, he takes the 2 damage, lives, and then will heal back to 3. But yeah, you can do things like play Ogdo Bogdo on turn 1, and then play Ezra Bridger, and then start giving experience tokens to Ogdo Bogdo. Or you can play Ezra Bridger turn 1, and then play Ogdo Bogdo turn 2, and then immediately attack with Ezra Bridger and make Ogdo Bogdo a 6/4, allowing his a little more leeway to attack stuff and heal. But more than likely, a 5 attack unit on turn 1 is going to hit the base, and we're going to start a base race. That's what I'm feeling like. And just because we have a lot more Force/Jedi units, we can cut down on some of the stable Force units that we've already had up to this point. Like Ezra Bridger's a 3/5 Force unit. Would much rather play him than a Yoda on 2 as a 2/4. I mean, don't get me wrong, we do love Yoda, but with the Ki-Adi-Mundi also, the new Ki-Adi-Mundi, that kind of sears up our need for having to draw a card with Yoda, and we can just do that with the new Ki-Adi-Mundi. The Kanan Jar, same thing, kind of went down to 2. Just trying to fit everything in. It's really hard. We have a lot of good cards coming out. We were talking about Kiadi Poe Dameron's got to stay in. The new Anakin Skywalker is absolutely nuts. If you like playing Luke on 6, because oftentimes, if like especially if you have the initiative, you're playing Luke on 6. You know, you're only -3 something. Well, how about -3 something on turn 5? This card, Anakin, is so good. It's also a way to answer like a lurking TIE Phantom on like you know because they only have 2 health. So yeah, it's just a very good card, and there's no reason not to run 3 of him in the deck. I think. I mean, he's so good. You know, we got the 2 Obi-Wan still, got 3 Lukes, 2 crates, of course. I really like Phantom 2 with more cards coming out and then making like a few flying creatures and stuff like that. There could be potential that there's like a low cost flying space unit that's probably going to be better than Phantom 2. But as of right now, Phantom 2, being a turn 1 answer to like things like Falcon and just also being a 5/1 space unit, is just so good right now. I can't see dropping it from the list, but of course, again, we haven't seen all the cards come out. The Red Squadron X-Wing, we're moving up back up to 3 because we have a significant amount of more consistent draw. So when we're going up to 3 Rebellious Hammerheads as well. So this card is just going to be incredibly online, I think, going forward. And then, of course, we got 2 Redemptions. Gotta love Redemption. And then kind of the same event package, just minus Bombing Run. I haven't actually updated this since I added Bombing Run into the main one. But with this new set, you can't necessarily assume that that Vader 4 deck is going to be up and popping still. So I'm just kind of throwing things together how I like it and seeing how things combo together and seeing how I like those. But yeah, so that's the main deck. And then the side deck is, well, I guess I did have it in the side deck. I just didn't have it in the main deck yet. We got 3 Bombing Runs, 2 Perilous Position, 3 Chams, and 2 Kit Fisto's Aether Sprite. As you can see, I've been kind of more working on the current deck in the past 4 or 5 days, a lot more than I have this deck. But I have been working on this and touching this up and will continue to do so. So, yeah, guys, if you made it this far, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You just made it all the way through a deep dive video. And comment down below. Let me know what you think. I really tried my best to get as much information as possible as I could towards you guys. Of course, in a card game, there's going to be scenarios that I just missed or haven't thought of. You know, I'm not a perfect person. But I really did my best to set you guys up for success. And I hope that you guys do have success going forward with this deck. And I will see you guys next time. And if you want to see, of course, my exclusive deck list or see my deck list in a centralized location, don't forget to check out the Patreon. Peace.